Let's see. Do I have everything up? Maybe not. Uh-oh. I don't see what I'm looking for. Uh-oh. 1 second, y'all. E-L-E-S-S. Oh, rude. E-L-E. There we go. That's what I need. Caca. Hi. Welcome in, everyone. I needed to send out my caca. I'm live. How are you guys? Good evening. Look at that. You are modded, ma'am. All right, who's all here? Not naked tonight. Nope. Only naked in the mornings. I don't know. I'm telling you, it is the weirdest thing. It is the weirdest thing. So, welcome in, everybody. Normally I'm on in the morning. I'm not normally on at night. So I thought I would pop on tonight, though. My parents are about 2 hours out. They are moving here to Oklahoma from Texas. They have lived in Texas for 35 years, and this is their first move since being active in the military and moving down to Texas. So they are on their way home to Oklahoma, and my husband is with them and our friend. So I'm antsy. I wanted to go ahead and do a show tomorrow. I'm going to be helping unload the truck and get them settled into their new place. So my morning show is most likely not going to happen. I will probably pop up in the afternoon just to see how everybody's doing, because I just don't like my days without being on here. But I do tutorials on Wednesdays, and there were a lot of people that were excited to do the tutorial. So I'm live streaming on YouTube. If you can't, if you're missing it, or if you know someone that's missing tonight, just let them know that they can go to my YouTube and watch this video back. It's live streaming right now, but it'll be available later once YouTube does what it does with the videos overnight. So, has anybody here not ever done EPP and is curious about it? Because this is a pop-up show, so there weren't any bookmarks on this. Cheyenne, okay. Crochet Kelsey, all right, great. Well, I don't do my tutorials. If anybody in here knows me, Panda would probably be the best person so far to express my style of tutorials. It's a bit squirrely, but I do know that based on what other people have said in the past, it makes it seem a lot easier to understand and a lot less scary. And that's what it should be, because it can seem daunting to do something completely by hand, but it is so therapeutic. It is so relaxing. Yeah, but we will do the tutorial together. I kind of start at the end result, and then I go back to the beginning, and then I'll pause and I'll show you in the middle why we're doing. I like the why. I've always been that kid that's like, but why? But why? And as an adult, I still do that. I want to know why why you do what you do, how you do what you do. I've been a curious person my whole life. So um, I always try to teach the way I would want to be taught, knowing that surely this covers everything. Oh, so Sally, yay. Yeah, hand stitching is wonderful. There's something about not being limited to where you are. You know, a lot of crafts, you need a dedicated workspace and things like that. And it can be uh, frustrating when you want to work on something and you can't just take it with you. But EPP, you may not want to do all areas of EPP out and about. Hi there, Mimi. But you can do several stages of it. It has so many little parts that come together to make the project that you can always be working on the project even if it's not on the final piece of your project. And by that, I mean there's a cutting phase, there's a fabric choosing phase, there's a tacking phase, there's the sewing phase. Um, there's a lot of things that you can break down and do. So that way, if you're at a doctor's office, if you're at a ball game and your kid's not going to be playing for the next 45 minutes, but you can't go anywhere, bam, you have something to do. You know, like if you're at the DMV and you're going to be sitting there for 9 million hours, you have something to do besides scrolling on your phone. You know, it's something that you can do. It keeps your brain, it's really good for your brain, just like crochet or knitting. It does keep you engaged. And For me, it's also very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Um, it reminds me of my grandma. It takes me back to my childhood. So reminiscent of being younger, and I feel closer to her when I'm doing it. And I also love that with Whatnot now, I can do the things that I love and not do it alone. So I don't know if anybody that makes sense to anybody, but a lot of times when you're crafting alone. Um, it's you may be the only person in your house that enjoys what you do. That is my circumstance. I'm the only one in my house that likes to crochet or sew or any of those things. My son loves to draw. One of my kiddos. My daughter, she loves to do photography and paint. And my middle son, he loves to cook and he also enjoys drawing. But none of them are really into the things that I'm into. My husband's a car guy. He's a gearhead all day long. And he's also a welder, so he likes to work with his hands. So he can at least appreciate what I do because I work with my hands. But he could not. He doesn't have the attention span to sit there with a needle and thread. Like to him, he's like, I don't know how you do that. I would go crazy. So to each their own. But here on Whatnot, we get to be surrounded with the people that actually enjoy doing it as well. And if you don't, there's like 5 million other people on that you can go and hang out with if it's not your jam. So that's the other good thing about Whatnot. You're not stuck with me. You're only stuck with me if you choose it. So if you're here and you're interested in learning EPP, you're at the right place. I break it down as simple as I can. And if you have questions, I stop what I'm doing. Oh, Kathy, that's so sweet of you. So yeah, we're gonna do some EPP. Thank you. Thank you. That's another hobby that I really love. I love graphic design. So I really enjoy making my graphics and like my imaging for all of my items in the bin and things like that. So yeah, I just like to be creative, and so all of it brings me joy. And this app literally brings all of my favorite things together. So wait a minute. Update Pelin interfacing used for FPP. What is FPP? Fox and Fern, hello there. Thank you for raiding in with your friends. You caught me in a moment when I'm like, I don't know what this is. Does anybody know what FPP is? Because Panda's got 4 kids. She's out now. Oh, foundation. Oh, duh. I know what FPP is. Okay. Foundation paper piecing. Okay. Yes. Um, you can use it for EPP, but if you have death grip like I do, it is not your friend. So let me explain. So while you're putting together, this is what EPP looks like in the process. Mine is I do hexagons. There's tons of different things you can do. My sweet friend Mindy, she's doing coffin shaped ones right now for a Halloween project. It's pretty cool. But where was I Panda, FPP, right? So EPP, if you can see in my papers how they get kind of bent, that's fine and that's all dandy. But if that was interfacing, if you can see how much I'm like death gripping it to do my stitches, if that was any softer, I might not keep my pointy edges. So I would say learn with paper, and then once you got the concept, then maybe you'll relax a little bit and then that'll be okay. But I have like hyperfixation focus, death grip. So if anybody relates to having death grip, start with paper and then integrate into the other fun things. Because when you do use interfacing, you don't have to take it out, which is really nice too. So, but always learn the things first and then add all the things. Because yeah, if you start with that, you could potentially get so frustrated that you're like, forget about this. And really, it's very enjoyable. Foundation paper piecing, I have not actually done. So I'm pretty sure with foundation paper piecing, you don't tack you sew the pattern directly into the product, right? Is that how that works? I have some Riley Blake stars that I feel like that's what you do with it. Because there doesn't show seams, no seam allowances and stuff. I don't know. But so I'm not going to pretend to know any of that, but I do know enough about this that I can do this. All right. So I have a couple of pieces. I broke down the tutorial. Like I said, my tutorials are a little bit wonk. If it's not your jam, I totally get it. There's tons of ways to do it. I just have had success teaching it this way. So I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing and cross my fingers that it makes sense to others as you join along. Okay. So the first thing I teach is how to make this. No, not that one. One moment. This one. The first thing I teach is how to make this flower. This is a completed flower. You can take this, you can glue it onto some felt that's cut the same shape, and bam, coaster, done. So you can learn the steps just like so. Or you can keep growing it and turn it into something different. So you can make something as small as a little coaster and be super proud. Like, look at that. I made that coaster all by myself with my bare hands. And the process is very simple. You're going to make a bunch of these. You're going to make a bunch of hexagons. And then you're going to take your hexagons. I told you this tutorial is going to be really rowdy. Okay, so you're going to make a bunch of these. And then you're going to sew them together. One side at a time. You're going to put them face to face. You're going to sew that. Then you're going to open it. Then you're going to turn it. Now, I skipped so you could see that you don't have to do it clockwise. But I think doing clockwise is good because you can carry your thread all the way around. So, you start off with just the two, right? And you add all of your pieces all the way around, carrying your thread along and everything. You just attach it to the middle. And then once it's attached, this had a paper in it. But once there's a piece that's fully surrounded like that, you want to take that paper out. Because see, now look, now I can flop it around, and that makes sewing all of this much easier when you don't have a paper there. You can fold it over, sew your seam, carry your thread, fold it over, sew your seam, carry your thread, fold it over, sew your seam, carry your thread. Like, you can just keep going and then sew all your sides together. And that's the same technique even when you're doing this. You add it, then you add your middle one, and then you sew them together like so. You know, you just do it piece by piece. And it comes together really nicely. Now, when you're sewing it, you are hand sewing all of this. You're not using a machine. And so there's a little trick. When you're putting them face to face like this, all your folds on the back, if you fold it correctly, they all fold in a clockwise or counterclockwise motion. So what you want to do is you want to find the very last one you did, which will have a complete flap, because it's the very last one. I like to start there, but it's because I'm really like OCD about stuff. So I go right into that one with my needle, and I take the needle and thread up through that flap. That way my knot to start sewing is under that flap, and you don't see it. It hides it. Once you get it up into there, you're just going to take a little bite of the next fabric and do a sewer's knot. I like to put 2 in every corner as I go along. So you put 2 little knots here, then you just do a whip stitch all the way across. When you get to the next corner, you're going to do 2 sewer's knots in that corner. Okay, and that just gives it a nice, like, look at that. You can't see my stitches. Can't see my stitches. And I used almond colored thread with this black and yellow fabric. You can't see my stitches. It's lovely. So again, every time you do this, you just do 2 sewer's knots in the corner. I have a little tool that I made to go with my kits. It shows you 2 millimeter spacing. And what I do is I do a stitch on the line, a stitch in between, a stitch on the line, a stitch in between. And that'll give you approximately 16 stitches for every inch that you sew. That does not count your 2 sewing knots. Those I don't count. I don't even count in general anymore. And eventually you won't either. But you want to try to get one about every millimeter, just to get comfortable with your stitches. So that's the process, is 2 sewer's knots, a stitch every millimeter, and 2 sewer's knots. Turn, add your next one, do the same thing. All right. Now, before you can do any of that, you actually have to make said hexagon. Okay. And I use this. My grandma used a piece of newspaper or magazine, cut the little shape herself, cut the fabric herself, and tacked it onto the paper by thread. That is not a way I want to do it. It's not structured enough for me. I like it to have like really nice little points and corners. So I I say it. I guess it's kind of like cheating. You know, I use this. This is a tack it easy. So the first thing I do is, well, now I need a piece of fabric to go in there, and I need a paper. So you're going to need your paper, and you're going to need a piece of fabric cut in the shape to go in there. That's where these come in. This has a window, so when you're choosing where you're going to cut your fabric, you can see exactly, let me turn it around. You will get to see exactly what your hexagon is going to look like. This fits right inside of there. So that's why it has the window. You get to choose. So if there's like a cute little bumblebee or a bug or a flower or something, and you want it to be the center of attention, you can choose exactly what you want that hexagon to look like, and then you cut your fabric to match. Then you take your tack it easy. Your tack it easy, you lay it down on the table, and you take it the correct side and you go down, because that way when you flip it over, your hexagon is correct here. So you lay it down in there, you take your paper and you match it up just like the shape of the hexagon inside. So just make sure it lines up. You're going to test it by folding one of those folds over and push up against it. That way you know you're right there where you should be. At that point, you're going to take glue. I recommend using disappearing glue. It's purple first or whatever color it is, so you can see where you're applying it. You're just going to put enough on that little, enough right there, so when you plop this down, it'll stick. All right, so you just put a little bit of glue there, and then you take your tack it easy and you just fold it over and just hold it for a quick second. And when you let go, see, it stays right on. And I'm doing this holding it up. I'm not using a table. Like, you can literally do this in your lap. So now that's where I started. So I want to continue going clockwise, so all my folds fold the same direction. You don't want your folds going all wonky, because that adds thickness you don't need in your life. Nobody needs that kind of stress. So you just go to the next one, add your glue, fold it over. Go to the next one, do the same thing all the way around. And when you're done, it'll look just like this. And all your folds will go either clockwise or counterclockwise. It does still need to dry. You don't want to use it right away. You want to let that dry. So I used to just set them down and let them dry. And then I started noticing that my fabrics would kind of bubble a little bit, or they would move, you know, because they weren't fully dry. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. So I made this. This is a little hexie stacker, and it comes with a weighted puck. So once you finish making your hexagon and it needs to dry, you drop it in, and this weighted puck keeps it nice and flat while it dries. So you just lift it up, like so. You just plop them in there, put that down, make some more, plop them in, put the lid on there. And then I realized, well, I also need to do this for my fabric, because now my fabric's getting all wrinkled. I'll cut it, but then it goes again in a tray or in a bag, and then it can get wrinkly, and then it's not going to lay flat. Nobody needs to be busting out an iron to do this. It's just shenanigans. So I made another one. This is the fabric stacker, and those pieces fit perfectly in here. It is made to fit the papers for a 1-inch. So, and they also stack inside of each other. So when you're traveling, this is the travel set. It's short. I also have a full-size set for at home. It's much taller. It'll hold a lot more fabric or a lot more hexies. But I wanted something I could take with me so I could work on things if I had 2 hours out or whatever amount of time I had. And then I use these little trays. These are from Dollar Tree. It comes in a 2-pack. and it allows me to keep my working stuff here and then my finished hexies down below. So as I work, I move it to the bottom. Super simple method. And then on top of all of that, it all stacks inside and is the same size as a little like grocery reusable tote bag. It's super easy to grab and go. So that's my system. I know I kind of did the tutorial a little wonky, but you're going to have a fabric stacker. You're going to have your hexie stacker. And then, so these are little bits that you can do wherever. Can I look at your sets for this when I'm over? It looks fun and easy. Sure. Absolutely, Kelsey. Anytime. Yeah, just come on back here. So, yep, you just store your rotary cutter, your scissors, your thread. You store, well, this is my other one. So this is the one that has all my stuff in it for 2-inch. I've got these little thimble dots that are really, really nice when I'm sewing so I don't prick myself all the time. These I'm going to get in the shop soon. Fabric scraper. So when it is time to take that paper out, a lot of people just peel it with their hands, and that's okay. You can do that. It's not the worst thing. It's not the end of the world. But I will tell you that as you're prying that glue off with your hands, you are separating those fibers of your fabric and you are taking away the integrity of your fabric. You do not want your seams or anything coming undone after all that time you spent sewing it by hand. I promise you don't want that. This scraper was invented to solve just that. So now I can't remove this paper because I still have one more piece that needs to go here before it's fully surrounded. So just imagine that I do have a paper. Well, I don't even have to imagine. I can show it to you with the paper in there right now. So just imagine that this paper was in there, you know, and it has to come out in order for me to do any of the rest of this. That being gone is what makes this easy to work with. So to remove it, you just take this little scraper, and you do want to do that more on a flat surface. You can do it in your hand, but then it will bow. It's a little bit different. So just any flat surface. It can be a book. It can be whatever you want as long as it's flat. And you're just going to press that and push underneath that seam. And it's going to lift that fabric straight up without damaging it and without messing with your stitches. So this helps remove those papers. And when you do that, you can reuse the papers, which is freaking awesome, because these, you will need, like this one flower, it takes 7 papers to make this flower. And that's a coaster, you know, so it takes a lot of these. If you're doing 1 inch, which is what this is, it's going to take a lot of them. And if you can reuse them, that's wonderful. I also offer them in all these different sizes. This is 1 inch. This is 1.5 inches, and this is 2 inch. Now you might be wondering, especially if you're super new to it, just like I was, like, how in the heck is this a 1 inch hexagon and this a 2 inch hexagon? Like, that to me in my brain made no sense. I'm like, can we please make sense of why this is 4 times the size, but it's only 1 inch different? That doesn't add up. Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's all about this side edge. If you're doing a 2 inch EPP, it's because every side of your hexagon is 2 inches. This is 1 inch, that's 2 inch. This is 1.5 inches. So it's nothing to do with the diameter. It's all about those sides. So if you're doing 2 inch EPP, you're going to get a lot of surface area done much quicker, but your patterns are going to be significantly larger. So if you want to get something almost like Grafgan-ish, where you've got, or pixelated, I suppose. I say Grafgan because of crochet, but this allows you to get very creative. You can pixelate something. You can make letters and words on blankets and things by just pretending it's a little pixel. This one allows you to do much larger pieces at a time. So if I was to make this same project out of these 2 inch ones, it would be about this big already. So you have to decide for yourself what size you want to work with. I chose 1 inch because that's what my grandmother used, but you can use any size to learn. If you do start larger, you can always then know your concepts and scale it down if you want. I even have these as small as 1/2 inch, the little 1/2 inch ones. Oh, yay, Kathy got her stuff. Oh, I'm so glad. So they even make them down to 1/2 inch, these teeny tiny little things. but when you use those little bitty ones, you can use it like applique on a hat or on a pocket or back pocket of a jean, or you can use it in so many ways. You can almost use it like a patch. So you can get super, super creative, no matter how big the EPP is or how small. It's totally your call. The technique to do it is the same. If you're doing diamonds, if you're doing half hexagons, if you're doing coffin shapes, the technique to put them together is pretty much identical. You knot your corners, you stitch about every millimeter, and you build. So there's a lot of ways to learn how to do it. I hope that explanation made it seem less daunting. The other part of this I love is that because of the type of project I'm doing a huge blanket. I have a lot of these, and I do the steps that I can do. These still need all sewn together, and that's okay because they're made, So now if I go somewhere and I'm like, well, I don't really have the time to glue and tack and dry where I'm going, but I can at least do some sewing. I have a little bit of every stage still needing done. I have one more row of the red. Oh, yay! Guys, Mindy's making a Colorado flag EPP style. It's super, super cool. I can't wait to see it all done. I'm excited for that. So, what is the hand stitch ring used for? So this is so that way you can learn how to pace your stitches, how to space your stitches. I don't use this anymore, but I was so glad I used it when I first started because it helped me eyeball my stitches without having to worry. I knew that once I got to the other end, I at least had those 14 to 16 stitches I needed. So yeah, this is just a guide. It's not an end all be all. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. You may want to put a little, a Band-Aid on your thumb because it is 3D printed, but it is rounded. I did make it nice and smooth, but it's not, and it's a one size fits most. So it may not, it just depends. Everybody's hands are different, but the measurements are the measurements. And the other great thing about it is that when you're holding your fabric together and it's time to sew it, when you hold this up there, it is stabilizing. Your paper is not going to bend because it's being backed with this. It's like a tiny little table for you. So you just hold that there and you just keep going. You can also put it on your pointer finger and hold it in the back if you already are comfortable with your stitches and you just want a little extra dexterity to hold the piece together. Now I need to cut and glue 608. Woo! Yeah. Yep. That's it. Yep. The numbers can seem daunting, but the thing is if you're doing EPP, you're not in a rush. This is a relaxing, go with the flow style thing. This is not something that you would want to rush. It is something that you do for the leisure of it, for the love of it, for the joy of it. Speaking of, that is the 1/2 inch one. And if you want to see it, I will show it to you compared to the 1.5 inch. Look how teeny tiny that is. This is a 1/2 inch little hexie, but it makes the cutest little button size hexies you ever did see. And it helps with your mental health. Absolutely. 100% it does. Similar to crocheting and even machine sewing. The thing with machine sewing is that you do have the noise of the machine. And so if noise is part of your needing to relax, is just to completely drown out the sound, it is a completely silent hobby, just like crocheting or knitting. There's no sound. Oh, Donna, you got the ring. Great. Awesome. I hope you find it very helpful. And just know that you don't have to use it forever, but it is a great thing to have. And you just hit squad leader. Oh, congratulations. You have reached the top tier of my rewards program, which means now, after you have used up all of your coupons that Whatnot allows me to give you through the rewards program, if you ever do fabric bundles in my show, you get 10% off until the end of the season. So congrats to that too. This is my first season to have more than 10 people in my top tier rewards program. I think I have almost 40 now, which is amazing. And I can't thank you guys enough for shopping with me, choosing me. There's so many shows. There's fabulous sellers on here. Great, great people. I'm happy to be a part of it. And yeah, so thank you for choosing my show. Um, this next Wednesday, I hope to be able to start showing how to square off and make doing your binding easier for EPP. So as you can imagine, or maybe you hadn't thought of it yet, once these are all together, your edges are still zigzaggy, right? And so oh, I'm so glad you love it. Isn't it? It's the simplest thing, but it makes such difference. Um, your edges are zigzaggy, right? Well, I have diamond shape and half hexagon shapes that you can use to square your project. The other technique is to go ahead and just cut that off. You have to decide, is it more time consuming or stressful or cost effective to cut it off, or is it better to add more fabric and then add the binding later? For me, I'm going to be cutting this off. If this was my true edge of my blanket, I would be cutting from where this point is down to this point here, and I would just cut all of those little zigzaggies off. I'd rather just go ahead and eliminate that than try to square it off. But some patterns, you're creating blocks that will then go and add to something else. So you still need to, I think in the grand scheme, know how to do it. Therefore, I'm going to learn how to do it. I may never use it, but I'm going to know how to do it, and I'll do it and show you how I did it so you can learn along with me. This is by no means a I know what I'm doing, watch me and do it. This is a learn along with me type experience with EPP. I am I am very new at EPP. Been doing it about a month. And as you can see, this is as far as I've gotten. I probably have 12 flowers made, and this one started with my border, and that's it. So, but I'm not in a rush. My grandmother's blanket, it was a king size quilt, and it took her over 2.5 years to make. And that kind of dedication to something meant a lot to me to watch her do it. And I want to be able to do that too, because there's so much in life that it's like it has to be done quickly. I need something that I can finish and feel accomplished. And I also now know at 43 that I need something that I can do just for me, that I don't have a time limit. I don't have a constraint. I can do it whenever the dang I please. And that is what this has given me, because I can see the progress, even though it's nowhere near completed. I can see the progress, and I can think about where I got this fabric and who it was from and where I was when I was working on it, and all of that is going to make it so much more special when I'm done, because it's not about finishing it, it's about enjoying making it. So make sure that you are ready to enjoy yourself and not be in a hurry just to get a check mark that you finished a project, because this is not that type of project. Okay, I think I have ran my mouth enough. Does anybody have any questions or concerns, or anything to do with doing EPP? If there's anything that I may have missed that you're like, I still don't understand, just ask away. Um, I finished cutting orders and shipping everybody's stuff out from Monday's show, and I have several remnant pieces in here. And I thought I would go over something that might get me in trouble, but I don't mind a little trouble. I want to let the cat out of the bag on how to know how much fabric you need. And by saying how much fabric you need, I really want to say how little fabric you need. Um, oh, Patty, I have the perfect sticker. And if I could get this company to make me 100 pack of this one sticker, I would buy it in bulk. I get these stickers that it's 100 different stickers. I use them as giveaways. I put them in new buyer packets when I can remember. Like, I use them all the time, freebie type stuff. One of the stickers says, "It's okay if you think sewing is boring. It's kind of a smart people hobby." And it made me feel so validated because I was like, exactly. You don't have to like it. I like it. Go do you, boo. Like it, I felt so validated because yes, there's like when I picked up crochet, I had people in my own family that were like, I can't believe you do that. That's such an old fogey thing to do. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This has saved your life many times and you don't even know it because, murder is wrong and crochet is easy. It's a much easier thing than, going to prison. So, I mean, come on. And same thing with sewing. Like, I don't, I love that I can do it anywhere. Oh, thank you, Chris. Thank you for saying that. I spend a lot of time in my own head and I spend a lot of time trying to trying to make things accessible, understandable, and efficient. I have had this lifelong issue of there's got to be a better way, or how can I figure out the most budget friendly way to do something I love? Because I've had lots of seasons in life where I didn't get to treat myself to a hobby of any kind. I had to just pedal to the metal, get through the day. And I have found that crochet and knitting, as wild out as you can get with those things, just like sewing, there is an efficient, um, wonderful way to integrate a craft that is it is much cheaper than a defense attorney. 1,000,000%. There's just where there's a will, there's a way, and that's just how I've always been. So I really want to do this and I want to make sure that no one feels limited by their means because you can use scrap fabric. You can take a pillowcase out of your closet. You can go and get a, a cereal box and cut yourself in a hexagon out of a cereal box, a piece of cardboard. I I can help anybody at any budget do this craft for their mental health. There is no for me. That I want same with crochet. If all you need a hook and some yarn. If you have to go to the Goodwill and go find a sweater and frog that sucker out and get you some yarn, I don't care. Mental health is not tackled enough and it's overlooked a lot, and these types of hobbies have saved me from some really really rough times, lots of seasons in life that have not been fun. And yes, sheets, best backing on the planet per my grandma. She did not mess around with buying wide back. Now, that doesn't, I'm not knocking anybody that uses it because if you can use it, use it. But my grandmother would go to the store and she would buy a king size flat sheet and she would use that to back her quilts because it was more cost effective and she loved the feel of it. It was ready to go right out of the package. So, yeah, I'm a dedicated thread baster, but I love all the new options out there for everyone to choose from. Yeah, it's I just things need to be more accessible, and it doesn't take a lot to do this craft at all. I wanted to break it down before the show and I didn't get to, so I'm actually just going to talk it out. Yes, flannel. With flannel, you don't even have to use batting. You can just back it with flannel and it's a thin, keeps you warm in the winter, keeps you cool in the summer type thing. Yeah, there's so many things that you can eliminate because they're not necessary. They add value, they add comfort, they do add to it, but they can't take away from the basic thing. So yeah, no. There is a way to do it at any level. I will say that if you have dexterity issues, just the idea of doing it may not be right. It may not be the right craft for you. But if you don't have anything, like if you're arthritic, there's things you can wear to help with it. But I would say um, crochet is more arthritic friendly than sewing because you are constantly with sewing bending your fingers more. Where with crochet, you can lay your hand open. And it's a little bit different. You can pause at any given moment. With sewing, you've got this sharp object, and it's a little bit different. Um, I bought the tacket set and think it will be so good for my friend with hand issues. Yes, it is. It is a form of PT. I mean, you are exercising those muscles. You're stretching out those ligaments. You are doing the things. Um, and it's another one of those things that use it or lose it. That was something my grandma was very serious about. She's like, the second I stop doing this, I'll never be able to do it again. She's like, so I'm not going to quit. And she's machine sewed and hand sewed all the way clear up into her 80s. She was like, I'm not giving it up. Same with gardening, mowing her yard. She's like, if you stop using it, you're going to lose it. And so use it, do the things. When my son was around 13, he started having anxiety, so I taught him to do counted cross stitch, and yes. There's something about working with your hands that there's nothing on the internet that's going to stop that. You truly, like, it's because like I struggle reading. I'm a fast reader and I skim really bad. But there's something about creating with your hands that it's different. I can truly focus on it because I'm not being told what to do. I'm being taught how to do something. And I think that makes a big difference, especially with kids that are anxious by nature. I'm one of those people. I'm anxious by nature. And so I don't like being told what to do, but I like being taught how to do something. It's just that little twitch, that little switch, a little bit different. And so I like to be hands-on. I learn better visually than I do reading about something. If I have to read a tutorial, y'all, I'm not going to get very far. I need someone to talk me through it. I need someone to show me through it, not even just talk me through it. You show me how to do something, I could probably repeat it a million times. But if you're just telling me how to do it, I might be able to do it that one time while you're telling me. I can be talked through something, but don't expect me to ever do that again, because I was focused on listening to you or focused on reading what I was reading and not actually retaining what I was reading or retaining what you were telling me. I was just doing it in the moment. So if anybody relates to any of that, you have found your place. I'm just going to say, because that literally is just, I have to see it. I have to know why. So that's why my tutorial was kind of a little bit of here and there, because I can show you this, but why did I do it that way? Well, it's because of this part over here. Or, I like to pause and I don't like to wait. I want to know right then, because my brain won't let it go. So I need to just address it right then. Which is why I like questions. If you have a question, do not feel like you have to wait for me to shut up. Just ask, because I will pause and I will read the question, and my brain works better like that, to just be constantly ready to engage. That's how I work. If you're talking to me and I have a question, I'm most likely going to blurt out my question. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, you need to hear. It has to be a full engagement. I have to be in the moment. And I've learned on Whatnot that I actually enjoy teaching. I'm not that great at it, but I enjoy it. But I also don't try to pretend that I know what I'm doing either, which makes it takes a lot of load off my shoulders, because I'm like, hey, watch this. I'm going to show you most likely what not to do, which is great to do on Whatnot, because it's literally called Whatnot. So I will show you what not to do, and then you're all set, because you can watch me make the mistakes, and then you don't have to make them. Always better to learn from someone else's mistakes than your own. Making them yourself sucks. But if I make a mistake and it teaches you and me at the same time, that's a win for me. I don't mind screwing up if the end goal is the same. I learn, and someone else learns too. That's it. No gatekeeping the fails in life. Don't gatekeep your failures. Share them, because you're going to help somebody. Whether you realize it or not, you're going to help somebody. And sometimes it's just yourself, and other times it's you and other people. That happens. I want to quickly share, again, ask away. Ask any questions if you have them. I wanted to quickly share an upcoming class I'm going to be teaching. I came up with a product. It's probably not like a brand new product. Maybe something like this already exists. I don't know. I'm not pretending to make something out of nothing. But I wanted to make something bigger than a coaster, because to me, a coaster is a thing that yes, it's useful, but it can also just get tossed in a drawer and never seen the light of day again. I wanted to make something substantial enough that it had a purpose. I don't like making things without a purpose. And I wanted it to be something that took at least a day or two or three to make. I want to make sure that when I'm teaching a craft that I make it very clear and understandable on how to, where did I put the half hexie you shipped me? Where did I put the half hex? I don't know where you did with that. I don't, I don't know. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. You don't either. Yeah, that's not good. But my project, it's called The Perfect Place, which might sound stupid, and that's okay if it does. I love it. But it's called, or no, it's not. It's called The Perfect Spot. Excuse me. I named it The Perfect Spot. It is a little mat that is perfect enough to hold a plate with a sandwich on it for lunch. It's the perfect size to set your car keys, your phone, and your drink down. It's the perfect place to put a book. It's the perfect spot for whatever your spot needs to be. I wanted something that I could take with me when I travel and when I'm at a hotel. That is my spot. That is my spot. If I put something on that, I know where it's at. How many of us lose our phone while talking on it? How many of us lose our keys while holding them in our hand? I wanted a place that was mine, recognizably mine. And if I have something there, I can rely on it to be there. You know? Hey, Jenna, your glasses, exactly. So let me show you what it looks like. I'm still working on my graphics, so I hope it's not, totally dorky. But let me pull up what it's going to look like. So here we go. So it's still a work in progress. It's called Perfect Spot. This is the pattern here. Ooh, this is the pattern if you choose to do it completely like scrappy, where nothing really has to match. You just make 29 little hexagons and we sew them together. Now, I also have it where you can create your own. I made a blank template so you can take colored pencils or markers or even fabric and plop it in there and you can design your own. You can make the middle look like a flower, like this. So the middle is a flower, and then there's another little design on the outside. I played around with it for a little bit, just so I could finish out like that. So see, like you can make it all different kinds of shapes. The AI generator was awful. It made the ugliest perfect spots I'd ever seen in my life, and I made sure to tell it that. I was like, that is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Never show me that again. So, I really love the eclectic one though. I think that's perfect. The overall size of this is 10 inches tall. Oh, thank you. It's 10 inches tall and at its farthest point is 14 inches. So it's substantial in size, but not too big. It's just big enough that you can even roll your stuff up in it and put it in your suitcase, put it in your purse. Think about like when you're working on a puzzle and you have a puzzle mat, and so you can roll your puzzle up and it stays put together, but you can put it away. You can do that with your fabrics. You can pick what you want, roll it up, put it in your bag, or take it with you, and it's your spot. Like it's the perfect spot. It's just big enough, but not too big. It can go on your side table in your bedroom. It can go in the living room on your ottoman or whatever. You can put it on the center console of your car. You can put it wherever you want. It's the perfect size. It's the perfect spot. And that was really important to me, that it needed to be functional. So that's what it is. And if you would like to make one with me, I'm going to offer the class. If you've already bought kits from me, I'll offer the class separately, but I'm also going to offer it as a whole class where you can get the supplies you need just to make the project, to make it as cost effective as possible. Now to figure out how to train the hut right. Wendy, may the odds ever be in your favor. I just don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. But, yeah. And you can even make them for your spouse. Make them the perfect spot for their keys, for their phone, for their wallet, for their glasses. Because how many of them are like, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Have you seen this? Where's my charger? Where's this? Where's that? Maybe if you put it in your perfect spot, you wouldn't lose it. Well, I'm going to make them one. And it can have motorcycles and cars, or, Alexander Henry half naked ladies. I don't care how it comes about, but I do feel like everyone needs the perfect spot for their stuff. I don't. I just came up with this over the last week. I've spent a lot of nights not being able to fall asleep, and my husband's like, "Are you serious? You're over there working?" And I'm like, "Yes, because I need to. My brain is fully active and I can't sleep." But it came about. It was one of those in the middle of the night type things that I came up with, and it just really hit home with me. I really like it. For my daughter, hers is going to be where she puts her Bible, and her cell phone. So, like, you can design it however you want. If you want a scrappy version, it's gonna come with the option to have 29 pieces of fabric ready to go. So all you have to do is tack it and go. Um, but part of what I want to do between now and when the class starts is I want to make it make sense on how much fabric it really takes. And I keep saying how little fabric it really takes. We are making it's a placemat, but it's called the Perfect Spot, and it's a little honeycomb shape. It looks like that. It's 10 inches tall, and point to point is 14 inches across. And you use EPP to do it. It's all hand sewn, so you don't need a machine. You just need some thread, some scissors, some fabric, a tack it easy kit, and you're all set. Yeah. So the class will come soon, but before that, I wanted to talk about how little fabric you really need. If you do 1 inch, which is what this project is, if you do anything bigger, I will need to change the pattern for you, because you still don't want the overall size to be bigger than that. I think that would be crazy. You do, Jenny? Oh, do you love it? I love it. I absolutely love it. So if you're doing 1 inch EPP, every one of these starts out, the smallest piece that you can use is 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And that's if you're using 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can take a mini charm pack. Moda makes them. You get 42 of them in this little bitty pack. They're exactly 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches square. So if you just think about that for a second, that one little square makes one of these. Okay. When you buy fabric, now granted, when you take the width of your fabric, which is 36 inches usually, if you were to divide 36 inches by 2.5, you come up with an odd number. So you're going to have a little bit left, but you get 14 whole strips. So every yard of fabric you buy, you can do 14 strips that are 2.5 inches wide. All right. Now we got to talk about our width of fabric. Your width of fabric can be anywhere between 42 and 44 inches. I'm going to go lower. I'm going to say 42. So at 42 inches, divide that by 2.5, because it's the same thing. It's 2.5 inches square. You get 16.8. So the 0.8 don't matter. It's 16. So you can get 16 pieces out of every strip. So that means that we've got 14 rows, 14 with the fabric strips, and each strip can do 16. Okay? 14 times 16. Every yard of fabric you buy, you can make 244 1-inch hexagons. And that's really all I wanted to say out loud, because I really wanted that number. I wanted to say that number out loud. You can make 244 hexagons out of 1 yard of fabric. That is a lot. So I'm telling you, If you go and you find somebody selling this remnant piece here, this is not even a half yard. This sucker's probably 15 inches wide. It's 17 inches wide by width of fabric. This little piece right here, every 5 inches is 2 rows. At 17 inches, that means I can get 6 rows out of this, and it's width of fabric. As long as you know the width of fabric, you know you can get 16 pieces out of the width. So then how many strips can I get? I can get 6. What's 16 times 6? 96 pieces. I can make 96 hexagons out of this scrap piece. It ain't even a half yard. I can make 96 out of this little bitty piece right here. So if you find a piece of fabric and you're like, oh my God, look how cute this fabric is, but it's so tiny I can't do anything with it. No, yes, you can. You're going to get your 1-inch paper and you're going to tack it on there, and now you have this really cute little hexagon. Do that a handful of times. Do it 7 times and you can make a coaster. This takes very little fabric and it's so cute. You can take 2 of these, make 2 of them, remove all the papers, sew them together, and you have a reversible coaster. So you don't even need a backing. You can just make 2 fronts. You don't even have to have a back. Put Christmas on this side, put Halloween on this side, and leave it on Halloween side until it's over, and then flip that sucker over. And now you're ready for Christmas. However you want to do it. Do a fall, winter, a spring, summer. You know, you get to choose what it is at all times. You're literally making your own fabric. And it doesn't take a lot to do it. And if all you're doing it for is to just let go of the world around you, center yourself, it's worth it. Go grab yourself a piece of fabric. Go grab a pillowcase out of the closet. Go get a button-down shirt that you don't wear anymore and cut some hexagon. You know, you don't even have to go buy fabric. Just find some cotton, as long as it's not stretchy, because that's kind of hard to work with. Just find some linen, find some cotton, something, and do it. Yeah, it is relaxing. If you see somebody selling scrap bags, as long as those scraps are at least 2.5 inches wide, you're good to go. Like, you don't even have to worry about it. This whole thing, I bet I could just take Monday's show. This is all a remnant from Monday's show from my end of bolts. This is enough fabric here to make an entire quilt top. No doubt in my mind. A yard of fabric weighs about 7 ounces. So for every 7 ounces of fabric you buy, how many did I say you could make? 200 and what? So now I can tell you, if you're buying fabric by the weight, as long as it's quilting cotton, 224 per yard. And if a yard weighs 7 ounces, which is a little heavy, that stack right there weighs 2 pounds. That's 32. 7 goes into 32. 61 out of a bam, right there. So in the shop, I already have some infographics in there that tell you what a fat quarter is, what a fat half yard is, the difference between a quarter yard and a fat quarter, because these are all things that when you do it, you know it, but when you don't know, you don't know. And it's something super simple, so you can tell like what you're getting. 2 pounds of fabric. So at 28 ounces, so at 30, let's just say it's 35 ounces. That's 5 yards of fabric. That little stack that I just showed you equals 5 yards of fabric. And at 5 yards of fabric at 244 pieces, that's 1,220 hexagons I can make out of just this one little box. This is a box from Amazon. It's a 4-inch by 8-inch by 6-inch box. And there's enough in there to do 1,220 hexagons. So don't feel like you need a library of fabric to do this. You don't need a library of fabric. You just need to have some. It doesn't have to be a different color. I'm using scrap because I love scrappy quilts. I'm an eclectic person. I like the variety. But you can also, this one is a trinketry. So every one of these is from Ruby Star's trinketry line. I just picked my middle for my flower, and all of these are from that collection. These are from my grandmother. Not a single one of them's the same. I just kind of went with the color flow. She had little bits of fabric and I'm using them. Um, and then this one is a complete Mod Podge one. No rhyme or reason. I like that. I like that I can do whatever I want, however I want to do it. Here's another trinketry. So every once in a while, there's going to be one that's kind of similar. And then here's another one that's random. That's my jam. That's what I like. Same with this. This is trinketry, but I went and I doubled up each little thing. I wanted it to kind of look like butterfly wings. So you can do however. It doesn't take a lot of fabric. The main thing is having a system, so that way it stays tidy, because it is a lot of little steps. And when you see a fabric you like, just know that it doesn't take a lot of it to get the job done. Unless you want every flower to be identical. Some people may want that. You may want it to be more symmetrical or uniform. You get to choose. It's all up to you. Okay, so my parents are going to be here in like 10 minutes. Thank you so much for keeping I was like this in the house. Like, they're going to be here soon. I can't believe this is happening. Like, I've been staying super focused and not paying attention to the time, but they're going to be here very, very soon. Like I said, I don't know. I know that I'll do an auction show on Friday. So if you would like any remnant packages, I can put some together. If you whatever you're looking for, just let me know. I sell fabric that's this big and I sell bolts. So yeah, I've got a little bit of everything. If you want a kit put together, let me know what you need. If you already have the needles, the thread, if you just need this piece or that piece, I will sell them separately. I just have them in the shop as a kit. So if someone buys a kit, I have it all for them. But I can always remove a kit from inventory and piece out a kit. I definitely will. It's going to be earliest it will be is going to be probably right after Labor Day. My daughter starts school tomorrow. I'm moving my parents in. We've got a few more things we need to really work out, and I want to get those kits put together. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be right at that time when the weather starts to cool down and things kind of settle. You're not doing as much outside. I think it'll be a good time. So let's just plan on it being early September. And then after we finish that one, you'll have everything you could possibly need to be able to even use it to make gifts for Christmas. My next thing's going to be reusable Christmas bags. It's simpler. It's a simpler project than the EPP, but I'm a huge believer in trying to eliminate a lot of waste. And I lost many a presents as a kid because of wrapping paper and stuff. So I like using reusable bags. I like using pillowcases with a drawstring in it. And now that my machine's back out, I want to make some fun ones and integrate the scrap quilting with it or EPP with it. I can, put initials on stuff. I want to get creative with it. Like I said, my main gig is I just love to create. So, and I like to share what I do. I like to not have to do it alone now that I know I don't have to. I really enjoy being on here and doing stuff with you guys. So, I'm going to go ahead and sign off of here. I think Narcy's on tonight. It is Tuesday night. I want to see if she's on right now. Terry's on. All right. So would you guys like to go see Terry D Stash? What is that? Curated Cottage? Do you guys, I love Terry. I like Terry a lot. Donna. Well, I appreciate that. I'm not good with compliments. I don't know if that comes across or not. That's really, I'm like, I need to just learn to say thank you. I really do. I need to just practice on saying thank you. It still makes me feel awkward. But let's go see Terry. Terry D Stash. She's great. But there's a lot of people on tonight. Make sure you just go out there. It takes a lot of work to sell on Whatnot. And it just means a lot to sellers when you come in there, even if it's just to say, hey, it does, it means a lot. I know it means a lot to me. So for those of you that are still with me, thank you. Um, and I'm going to go ahead and go rate us into there. And I will probably see you guys tomorrow for um, my time out from unloading a moving truck, just to have like maybe I don't know, a tequila on ice, I think. But I'll pop on tomorrow afternoon and see how everybody's doing. And until Friday, it'll just be quick little visits. You guys have a great night, and let's go see